What is a miracle? Miracles mirror God's eternal love. To offer them is to remember Him, and through His memory to save the world. As we're coming up to the end of this course, we do want to keep remembering that this really is about the discovery of the Son of God and God. That relationship between them and the Holy Spiritual Universe is what that is. So as you're going to that Holy Spiritual perspective of the universe, that clean slate, you're recognizing what the dreamer Son of God is in the totality of what God is. And that you're in the relationship. You think you're a body, but you're in the perspective of perceiving everything in the variations of all that is according to what you believe as physicality. But it is still and remains to be God. So you're here to recognize who you are and what God is and the love between you two. It is everywhere. It is everything. So every time you go to that clean slate idea, please remember that what you're doing is coming to know God. Of course, only the memory of God is what would make this happen, what would bring this about. Because in any sort of degree of recognizing love and surrendering definitions in the making God into something else or love into something it's not, would you recognize and heal that distortion to discover that reality, that what it truly still remains to be and always will. It is absolutely phenomenal to be in an experience like this of physicality and separation, to forget who you are, to not know who you are, and to then experience the recollection of it as well as its expression. You're opening it up, you're revealing and discovering it to such an extreme difference from where you're at that it is considered mind-blowing. Absolutely phenomenal in comparison. Now mind you that its reality is perfectly normal. The recognition of what God is a fact. It's something that's been around for eternity. It is more normal to you than anything else. You have not and cannot experience anything more familiar than what God is. You will recognize and know what that is by allowing yourself to surrender all of these things that seem to be these new things. But it's just a landscape, allowing you to experience what something is that seems to be different. Something is that seems to be separate, where you seem to be little and alone, an expression, an experience, an exploration in a different fashion, to then only be the opportunity to experience that reality again, to discover what that truth is again. It's not phenomenal to the truth. God cannot have a miraculous experience. A miraculous experience or an aha or a revelation is only to those who believe they do not have it. A fantastic experience or that love is somehow meaningful, can only be meaningful, can only be phenomenal to those who experience the lack of it. So you're here to experience the lack of it so that you can occasionally and eventually fully experience the complete awakening and discovery of what that is. So you know, because it's in you, familiar as ever, what it is that is going to be happening. You know what is awakening. You know and you feel it and you're ready for it. You might feel like you need to hang on for a few more times, few more things, few different steps. You might need to have your house in order so that you allow yourself to surrender. But what is that you're surrendering to? But a discovery of not the lesser self, not just a greater lesser self, but the wholeness of who you are. Offering miracles is agreeing to be that wholer self, that greater expansive variation of who you are. You're expanding from this tiny self, this little identity, this small bubble, into a greater expansive, fuller definition, full of higher something or other, something cool, I gotta say, discovering of what God is. So every time that you're doing it, every time that you're trying to, it's not necessarily going to be what you think it is, but that you're willing, you're open, you're purifying, you're forgiving, and it will be what it's meant to be.